All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Marissa Smith, and I'm the Director of Student and Recent Alumni Engagement here at the Alumni Association. And thank you for joining us for Transformational Goal Setting with Ivy Ivers. I have just a couple of announcements to share before we get started and turn things over to Ivy. So first, for those of you who have joined us before, we always like to give a shout out to our Alumni Association members. Our members power everything that we do, and we're very grateful for them. So if you're joining today's webinar as a member, thank you. And if you're interested in learning more about membership and the benefits that you can receive, feel free to visit our website at umnalumni.org. Since you joined today's webinar, you might be interested in a couple other upcoming opportunities that I've listed out here. On March 10th, we're going to be joined by a presenter from TCF Bank to talk about 6 steps for buying a new home. So whether you're considering buying your first home, or maybe it's been a while since you've participated in that process, would love to have you join us on March 10th. On March 20th, we're actually going to have an in-person opportunity. So if you're based in the Twin Cities, you're welcome to join us in McNamara Alumni Center for a Designing Your Life workshop. We had a webinar on this topic a few weeks ago that you can check out on our YouTube channel. And this is a follow-up, an opportunity to go more in depth. And it's going to be a lot about thinking about the status of your work life, your personal life, and maybe some goals that you have that you want to evolve towards. And then on April 2nd, alumna Alexis Murillo will be leading us in a webinar about the hidden epidemic of domestic violence, a topic that's very important to her and to many of us. And so I invite you to join us for that as well. If you're new to listening to webinars on Zoom, you most likely have joined over your computer's audio, but you do have the option to listen over the phone as well. So you can dial the number displayed on your screen and enter the webinar ID listed there. All this information should have also been in the email confirmation that you received beforehand. And then we do want to encourage you to ask questions throughout today's webinar, making this as interactive as possible. So you can submit them anytime via the Q&A button, and we'll be monitoring those as we go. And so I'm very excited to welcome alumna Ivy Ivers to present today's webinar, Transformational Goal Setting. I want to tell you just a little bit about Ivy before turning it over to her. So Ivy graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Scientific and Technical Communication from the University of Minnesota. And while studying and during her time in the hospitality and entertainment business, she found that what really drives her is mentoring and coaching others. She now owns and operates her own coaching business, which she's going to tell us more about in a minute. So welcome, Ivy, and I'll turn things over to you now.
Hi, everyone. Well, thank you for taking your lunch break to join me here and learn a little bit about how you can stop living basic and start living bold. And I just love this concept because I think we really go through a lot of stages in our life. And during these stages, sometimes you're doing a lot of exciting things and adventurous things. And then sometimes you're kind of sinking into the normalcy daily routines of life, and you're seeing the days merge together. And before you know it, you're like, a year went by. What have I done? Okay, I've stayed alive and I've cooked meals and I've gotten to work, but what have I really done aside from just keeping, the normal regimen of my life going? So that's what we're going to discuss today. And thank you, Marissa, for the great intro. And just a little side note, I haven't been to campus for so long. As I said, it was really fun to walk down memory lane today and be in this beautiful new building here. So
yeah, we're really here in the McNamara Alumni Center.
I love it. Yeah.
Who are on campus.
And then again, as Marissa said, you guys feel free and interrupt with questions as they come. A lot of them I'll try to get to right away, and some we'll save for the end too. So, all right, let's jump into the outline. And what we're going to discuss today is these 4 themes. So these are some of my favorite themes, and these are themes that are going to go in line with different ways to inspire and motivate you, and giving you sort of the grounding you need to get to that next level of having fun and enjoyment in your life instead of just being bored and basic. So starting with mindset matters, the mind is the master and commander, right? So if your mind isn't in the right spot, you're not going to be able to see really what you're capable of. And we're going to get into that and dig deep, and I'll share a little bit of my personal experience too of some mindset shifts I've had, which you'd be shocked when you think you have an open mindset and then you reflect, you're like, oh, actually I was pretty rigid in there. So then we're going to discuss your dream list. So this is a compilation of small things that you can start doing right away, even today. So we're going to get into that. And then of course your large, lofty, grand goals and your 1 year epic goal, which we're going to get into as well. Then we're going to talk about your 1 week jump start. So these are again going to be pulling from some of the small topics from your dream list and seeing where we can get those implemented in your life right away and steps to get there. And then, as I mentioned, your yearly epic goal. This is something I believe so firmly in. Everyone has to have a yearly epic goal, or a year comes and goes, and you don't have any really big thing that you reflected on. So again, you know, when you're young, you're like, hey, I graduated college this year, or maybe marriage was a goal, or you had a kid. But if you don't, you know, if you've done those things, or if you're in the process of those things, or maybe you're not doing any of those things, you're just doing your own life, you still want to have like a wow factor marker, in my opinion. All right, so next I'm going to play a little bit of a slideshow that is designed to inspire and motivate you, just give you some ideas while I'm talking here. Many of the images that I'm gonna play for you are from my travels. I've traveled to 34 countries and counting, and I'm a big advocate of exploring the world. It broadens your horizons, it broadens your mindset, it really gets you out of your box, and it's something that if you really want this, no matter what socioeconomic status you have or family situation you have, I work with my clients on finding strategies to get there, because anyone can go, really. I mean, from the person who's barely getting by to the person who's got flush with cash, believe it or not, there's always a way to get to travel and experience life. Okay, let's jump in. All right, so, okay, I want to first start off with the topic of someday. Someday, you hear people say that a lot. Well, someday I'm going to do this. Someday I'm going to do that. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen the movie Up. And that intro to Up, it's quite poignant. I mean, yeah, if you didn't cry, or, you know, or get close to it, side clap to you. But the reason I really like to use that intro is a jumping off point is because people do. They're constantly waiting for later, later, later. They're saving their money for later. They're saying we're going to have time for it later, and later may never come. Okay, we're always going to have expenses. We're always going to have responsibilities, and we're always going to have roadblocks and hurdles and things that come up in our life that are going to get in the way. There's never going to be, you know, this whole chunk of time that there's someone paving out a beautiful, wonderful trip for you, because you're never going to know, because it's life, right? So you need to be the one to take action to make this stuff happen. And, you know, one thing when I work with clients as well, we do kind of tailor what you can do to your means. Today, we're going to get into a broad general spectrum of what you can do and how you can achieve these different goals that are small and large and keep your life bold. But again, there is different ways to work around it, because it's not one size fits all. We know everyone has complex and different lives. All right, now, one thing that I think is really important to think about right off the cuff is your mindset, as I mentioned. Your mindset really, really matters. And take a minute and reflect on how you look at different activities, different things. So you've seen these activities and things coming across the screen, images of people doing unique stuff. Maybe it's paddleboarding or cliff jumping or going in a hot air balloon. And you might be feeling yourself going, oh, I wouldn't want that, or, oh, I'd want that. What I want to have you do is think a little bit about when you're saying no to something and pulling back and being like, no, 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 no. Ask yourself why. Why? Are you scared? Do you think it's not within the realm of possibility for you? Is it just some sort of personal bias you have? And that's something that it's really limiting. So example, I have a picture of me here from this summer. I wanted to show you guys because I hiked the Grand Canyon rim to rim in 1 day. That's 26 miles. That's 13 hours of hiking. And you know what? If you're in that world and you're super athletic and you love to hike, you might be going, yeah, wow, okay, that's cool. I'd love that. Or, oh yeah, I've done that, big deal. But this is why this all matters. It's for you. It's a personal thing. For me, that was absolutely not going to be on my radar. And I was encouraged by a friend to do it. And I was very not interested right away. I'm like, I don't want that. That seems way too intense. Is it dangerous? I can't do that. You know, the most I'll do is the treadmill 3-4 times a week, some weights, just enough to kind of keep things going versus kind of what I consider an epic journey. But I was encouraged, and he got me interested. I started training and walking and going, and I was still a little adverse to it. Even the day of, I was kind of secretly hoping something would happen. We wouldn't go. We woke up, it was cold, it was dark, and I'm like, what have I done? What have I signed up for? I have a headlamp on going down through these crazy drop-offs, and I'm like, Ivy, what are you doing? But I did it. Point is, I did it. I shifted my mindset and I said, hey, you've been kind of staying in this one lane for all these years, doing exactly what's familiar and kind of within your regular realm of what you do. So why not change it up? If you want to be a person who is going to inspire others into changing up their life and doing new things, you can't really be a hypocrite. You got to do it yourself. So I went forth and did it. It was fantastic. And it made me think people really need to push themselves out of their comfort zone. On that note, a mindset shift, it's something that can really dramatically change also your social circle. Are you someone who's kind of looking to change up what you're doing? Like, you've got your same friends from wherever walk of life, you know, maybe they're from college, maybe they're from work. But if you're looking to branch out and do some new things, you know what? Get involved with some different groups that are doing unique explorations, like a hike trek like this, or some kind of fitness activity, or biking and mountain climbing. There's a lot of different things you can do, you know, that's out of your regular lane. And then another topic that comes up quite a bit with people is age. You know, they get in that age mindset. Well, in my 20s, you know, that's when I traveled or I studied abroad. We did that. Now we have kids. We don't do that anymore. Or, you know, I'm in my 40s now. We don't go to those nightlife spots and listen to music. We did that in our 30s. Or now I'm in my 40s or 50s, and I don't want to go skiing anymore. I don't want to go sailing anymore because I don't want to get hurt, or I don't want to get in an uncomfortable, you start to sink into this comfort zone, which I think can be really a place of complacency and boredom, because you're just staying in your lane again instead of expanding your mind, expanding your horizons. And one thing I see a lot is people who they're voyeuring on everyone else's life online, and they're really stuck in that like Instagram click through, and they're looking at what everyone's doing that's interesting and unique. But I want you to be an active participant, not somebody who's admiring what other people do, but someone who's being the person admired, right? Why should other people do that and you shouldn't do that? There's no reason. And you know, people, they go through their feelings of envy and jealousy. And I do have some clients that I've seen start like that. And now I have one client who's currently started kite sailing down in Florida. She absolutely loves it. She never even used to do anything physical, but she got super into it. And now she's like shredding it out in the ocean. It's incredible. So it's really fun to see people change when they think like, hey, I've hit this certain age. This is what's going on now. My new trajectory is just like, and then honestly going down. And it's a different world now. We don't really need to adhere to those social norms of the days gone by, where it's like, nope, the 20s, as I said, 20s are for fun, 30s are for family, 40s are for basically getting ready to empty nest. And then, you know, 50s you're starting to like get your AARP magazine and get into this next realm where you're going to look at retirement and golfing. It's just not that way anymore. All right. And one other thing on this topic I want to cover is there is a really, I guess it's probably some sort of Puritan value from our early American ancestors. We love them all. Thank you for coming here. But there's like a little bit of pleasure guilt that I've seen quite a bit of, where people feel like, oh, I have to save that one thing for this special occasion, or, oh, I need to work super hard before I can get that trip, or wait, it's a weeknight. I can't go out and do something fun because I work in the morning. And there's this really kind of limiting mindset where it's like, why does pleasure have to be something that you only get as a reward for toiling? Okay, like, well, I've done my duties, I've toiled away, now I get this cookie at the end of it. I don't like that mindset, because we have the reason we can feel and experience pleasure is because we're meant to. That's why humans have this wonderful ability. So when you're limiting yourself and you're only saving these kind of cool experiences for a rainy day or this someday list that you may never do, you're just robbing yourself of this beautiful human existence we have and all of the ability and accessibility we have. I mean, if you take a minute and you do lurk around on someone on Instagram and you see, whoa, look at all these places you can go, activities you can do, things in your local community. It doesn't have to be international even. And I'm not doing any of them. I'm junking out on Netflix every night, and I'm cooking my meal, and I'm going to bed, and I'm just kind of repeating. You're just simply robbing yourself. So that's what I want you to think about, guys. Get in the right mindset. Look at your mindset now and kind of analyze it and see where you're at. All right, dream list. I love this. And so, okay, dream list, bucket list, whatever list. There's a bunch of lists you can say. I don't like bucket list because I associate that with the end of your life. What are you going to do before you die? I mean, what a morbid, what a like weird way to look at it. How about look at your dream list while you're alive? Fun things you can do now. I don't believe in waiting till you're elderly to do fun things either. I mean, you do hear that quite a bit. People are like, well, wait till we retire and then we'll do it. Well, you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you have a bad knee, you know, maybe you get sick. I mean, life happens to people. And I have a family member actually who was always the person who's going to wait. And now they're 70 and they do want to do things and travel, but they're concerned about international travel. Will, you know, the flight there hurt their back, and how will the time zone change? I mean, you really need to be doing this stuff when you're young and agile. And then hopefully you're going to be able to get it to do it in your elderly years as well, but not everyone does. So that's why I say you got to build your dream list now and start acting on it. So I gave a little example of my dream list right here. I want to pet an alpaca in Peru because they're so cute. Look at them right there. I want to ride horses in Mongolia. That's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. So that's actually something I'm looking at doing in 2021. I want to see the bioluminescent fish in the Blue Grotto of Malta. Look this up, you guys. It's unbelievable. It's so gorgeous. And I've got a couple other things on here that have been on my list. And I'm going to do these. I'm going to complete these before 2025. These are not things that I'm just writing down and fantasizing about. These are things I'm taking action on. I'm actually looking into like tickets and where I can stay, when I can do, what's the best season. So with your dream list, it's not just grand things. Like these are pretty grand, lofty goals. These are more in your 1-year epic goal, which we'll get into in a minute. But dream lists also can be things that are in your local community. They're things that you can do right away. So it's anything on the spectrum from small stuff to large stuff. So example, I want you to create a list of things that are unique to your local community. So example would be, you know, what about Wednesday nights going and hearing live jazz somewhere? What about starting that salsa dancing class you wanted to do? What about starting that workout classes you wanted to do every week that you keep saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I mean, just do it, you know, because 99% of the time, people don't want to do things. They're like, oh, the night came, and you're like, you know, it's dark early, it's 6 p.m. It's dark out. I'm just going to give it up and go to bed. But I mean, guys, you know, one life to live, you got to live it. You can't let the darkness of the nights of winter keep you in and doing nothing, or you're going to watch a whole season pass and be like, okay, I did junk out on 40 hours of Netflix a week, but did I do anything enriching? And again, I love my TV too, but we got to get out there and get active and do stuff. So one other thing I want to add too, before we get into some suggestions for the small things you can add to your dream list, is a site that I love so much. It's called jetsetter.com. If you ever need inspiration for your dream list, because you know, you might say, I want to go to Paris. Okay, that's great. But go to jetsetter.com. I mean, it's got everything on there from like best towns in France to visit that have specific types of food. I mean, it gets super granular with really cool things you can do. And I use this for a reference point this winter. My boyfriend and I went on this crazy cool trip. We got a car and we started in, okay, how did we do this now? We ended in Italy and we started in Bulgaria, and we went and did Christmas markets. We did Christmas markets all throughout Europe. We went to 5 different countries, and you know, we did it, and we're kind of crazy. We did it in 6 days, but it was unbelievable. We ate the best food. It was so much fun, and we were able to really, you know, pack it into a short time. So things don't always have to be like a 2-month extravaganza too. All right. So now we're going to go into weekly goals. Oh, I see a question here that I am going to address right now. Okay. Oh, interesting question. Many of the goals are around travel. That they are for the lofty list, but we'll get a little bit more granular in a minute. How do you reconcile this with the realities of climate change? You know, boy, that's a tough question. I haven't really thought about that very much. If you're referring to how do I feel about, flying on a plane with jet fuel, or if you're referring to like getting to a country that you think is going to be 70 degrees, but it's 92 and something like that. I'm not really sure if it's more on that political level or if it's more on like a comfort level. But I would say people need to do what speaks to them, because there's really no one size fits all, right? We're all subjective to what we're willing to do or interested in doing based on our comfort level. So I would say if you're someone who doesn't feel comfortable traveling abroad because you don't really believe in using fuel and that, keep things grassroots in your backyard. I mean, I always say, I have a blog on my website about travel, and travel can be anything as far as across the world to as close as a new park you've never explored in your home state, somewhere that you can walk to. I mean, if you don't want to use fuel, go places. I spent, this summer training for Grand Canyon, I walked almost 15 miles a day. I did all my errands walking. I brought my dog over. It was fantastic. So things can be as small as going to the Rose Garden by the lakes, experiencing that, having a picnic, doing something local in your community, to again, flying and jet setting and doing whatever you want to do. But yep, that's your own thing, however you feel comfortable doing it, I would say.
Another thing I would add to the website that you suggested, jetsetter.com, has, if you search climate change or sustainable travel, they have some suggestions too around tourism.
Yes, because there's so many great places you can stay, like really unique yurts and places that are camping grounds and different things where you're really getting to still experience culture and travel in your local community. Even again, with being in Minnesota, going to the Boundary Waters, doing things like that, just simply going up north. Unfortunately, you do have to drive to get there. I mean, unless you're a super hardcore hiker, then I guess you could hike to the North Shore. But okay, so a week is all it takes. These are kind of my jumping off points for doing your small weekly goals. So these are things that you guys can even start tonight, right? Like you don't have to sit here and go, okay, let me make this list. And starting in June, I'm going to do it. Start it tonight. So break up the routine. We've got a routine where we wake up, we go to work, we come home, we sleep. We've got this whole like circle that we do. And that's all fine and dandy, but we do need to break things up, as I said. So when people get stuck in the system, it just feels like this structured existence with stolen moments here and there where something randomly or spontaneously happens to you. That's fun, but you have to create that too, right? You can't just wait for people to invite you or something to happen. You're in charge. Like I said earlier, you're the master and commander of your ship. Your mindset's got to be there, and you got to take the reins and do it yourself. So, one thing I like to say to people who, especially say I have a client who's like, my partner and I are just really in a humdrum state right now. I ask them, what does your week look like? What do you guys do? And really they do share that same monotonous circle of kind of just, the average life, again, get up, go to work, come home, blah, 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 go to sleep. And I'm like, why don't you do a date night on a weeknight? Just something simple like that. And people are like, wait, well, we can't, we have work in the morning. But I mean, the point of being an adult and having autonomy and having freedom is you could stay up a little later on a weeknight or go out to dinner or something like that. You're going to be tired for work in the morning anyway. May as well have had a fun thing the night before. And even people with kids, I know this is a tough thing when you do have a more structured life, but at the same time, put the kids to bed if they're little ones, and still you can make a beautiful, fun night with your husband or your wife or your partner, whoever at home, light candles, create a beautiful meal. Why not have something special on a weeknight versus only reserving that for weekends when you're also really inundated with your honey-do list and your Home Depot runs and probably other family obligatory duties. I do think breaking up the monotony on a weeknight, it reminds you of when you were fun and young in your 20s, right? And you're like, hey, yeah, I have to work in the morning, I have school in the morning, so what? Big deal. I mean, I do think we get stuck in this kind of, again, ageism thing where we're like, no, we're in this new decade now. We have these new responsibilities and we can't stray from really the cultural norms that are imposed on us. So another thing too, just regarding with children, because maybe it's because I'm in an age bracket now where a lot of my friends are having small children or even kids a little bit older. So they feel like the pressures of society are not letting them have as much fun and freedom and flexibility on a weeknight anymore. I mean, may it be having to work around timing and bedtime and not having a babysitter because the days of kind of trusting your neighbors to watch your kid are really out the window. So there's a lot of limitations there. But at the same time, if you have kids who are a little older, you know, break up the night. I know people are really against screen time and everything, but I think once a week, if you have some fun, you say, hey kids, I brought home your favorite pizza and we're gonna all watch this fun family Pixar movie in front of the TV tonight. You're gonna be the coolest mom or dad out there. They're gonna have a great time. And guess what? They're not gonna be destroyed forever because they had that every blue moon on a weeknight. It's gonna just make a fun night forever and morale's gonna boost and everyone's gonna be in a good mood. And on that note, same with couples. Like I said earlier, just get out of your normal groove and do something different during the week, especially couples that don't have kids. I mean, guys, you really don't have any excuses, okay? Like I said, start doing that fun dance class together or start your painting class or learn a language. I mean, there's so many fun and unique things you can do to keep yourself diverse and interesting instead of humdrum and boring, right? So what do we have? We have a question here. What is the biggest reason that people don't reach their goals? What have you noticed in practice with clients? Okay. Wow, this is a great one. So one thing that I notice a lot is people want to do a lot of things, but they get really distracted with life and the habits and the patterns that they've created. Okay. So people might have a really great session with me. They're super motivated. They're ready. We make an action item list. After the session, I send them a recap form with all the things they're supposed to do and complete. And, you know, let me know by next week, our next session, what have you done, and holding them accountable. And you talk to them again. They're like, you know, I just had this and I had a new deadline for work and whatever. So people let the obstacles and hurdles get in their way. And again, it's just like that movie Up, you know, watch it on YouTube if you haven't seen it. The intro, you constantly see something's happening, a car's breaking down, something's going wrong to derail you from your fun and your plan and this and that. But that's why, you know, we need to be stronger than that. And we can't be really so fragile, if that makes sense. I think humans these days, we have our comforts. Everything is really cushy, generally speaking, for us. And I can only speak for probably my clients and people in United States, but it's pretty cushy. And so when one little thing kind of derails us, it seems that it sends us spinning. And all of a sudden now, you know, you got late for something by a half hour, but now that means that you can't do anything fun that night. Or you had an extra expense pop up, but now it means, you know what, absolutely forget, we're not going on that beach vacation this winter because the car broke down or something like this. And again, I'm using general explanations because I think a lot of people would say, well, yeah, but I mean, financial expenses are real and they are a thing you have to pay attention to, and they are. But there's also ways to cut corners in other parts of your life or create side incomes in other parts of your life or get creative with what you want to do to kind of get you out of your box. So I hope I gave you guys a little bit of insight on that one. Basically, people just get derailed by their own doing and their own stress. And I guess it comes back to mindset, really, and saying, no, having a fun, exciting life is more important to me than letting the small things get in the way, because small things are always going to be there, you know?
I think the only thing I would add to that, you touched on like the habits that we have are long form. And so when you find that you have a desire to break a habit, but it's taking longer than you might have hoped, or you have some setbacks along the way, to be compassionate with yourself in those moments. Absolutely. And talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend who's going through a similar thing. It's like, okay, I've tried, I've said this is what I want, but I'm going to have to try a little harder next time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's people kind of sell themselves short, you know, we quickly, and I've definitely
we all
done it.
Do this. This is
Oh
human.
my gosh,
This
absolutely. Like I said, I've traveled quite a bit and done a lot of unique things in my local community too. But at the same time, I really didn't start doing that till my early 30s because I was just so inundated with work and business and life and constantly making excuses. I mean, my excuses were like, I could have written a novel. And that's why when I kind of switched my mindset and was like, wait, no, I don't want to live my life this way anymore. And started coaching and realizing, hey, this is absolutely crazy. Like anyone from any walk of life here locally can completely do something different and be gentle with themselves while they're kind of getting out of those habits that keep you in the humdrum zone, basically.
Well, and I think it's also important to recognize when you're feeling that humdrum bored state versus when you're choosing to slow down.
Absolutely.
Because I have a young child,
Yep.
and I have learned to really value rest when I have opportunities.
Absolutely.
And it can look maybe to an external person like it's boredom, but it's not. I'm choosing to value my physical and mental health by resting more than I maybe would
Actually,
have.
Marissa, you nailed something really big that I did want to add in here. So everything's on a spectrum, right? And everything's subjective. Sort of like this question earlier about sustainable travel. It's subjective to what you're willing to do or not do. So again, one person's humdrum might be someone else's amazing moment. What, you know, one person who's like, hey, I did this great local hike down at Lake Harriet. That might be a really beautiful, wonderful thing they haven't had a chance to do. They're enjoying it. They're watching the water. They stopped at the Sebastian Joe's and got some ice cream. And right there, that's a really great, unique, fun, beautiful moment. So it doesn't have to always be exotic and crazy and wild. It just needs to be whatever is unique and different from what you're normally doing. Yeah, good point. So, as I mentioned, breaking up the routine, we kind of dug into that and getting involved with social activities. If you're someone who's, again, you know, I see this with a lot of people who are single too. They come home and they're kind of just bummed and bored. And I've definitely been there too. I've had times in my life like that. And I've just junked out, again, watching shows all night long. And you're not bringing any good, like, oxytocin in your life or anything like that. You're just kind of circling in this boredom, bummed out thing. So get out there, get on Eventbrite, get in your local community, see what's going on. There's always something cool and fun every single night of the week, literally. There's something cool you can do. So get out, expand your mind, expand your horizons, expand your hobbies. Even if you don't think you'll like something, do it one time. And then you can say, yeah, for sure, I didn't like it. I knew I wouldn't like it. But like me with this crazy Grand Canyon hike, I had my mindset like, no, I don't like it. I won't like it. And here I go on it. And I ended up loving it. So I do think forcing yourself now and then to get out of your box, even if you don't like it, like I said, now you can at least have some validity to that comment. All right. So, and then personal enrichment activities too. These are things that are not necessarily even about entertainment per se. That is something, that everyone will go, wow, look at what you've done. This is just for you. You don't even need to share with anyone you're doing this. But I do talk to people who they say, gosh, I always wish I learned piano as a kid, you know, and I don't know an instrument now. Or I always wanted to do acting classes, but I never had a chance. These are times to get involved with your local community and start doing these things. I mean, there's no reason to wait, like I said. And if any of you guys watch things on personal development, you'll have heard the term a million times. Someday isn't a day of the week, because it's not. It's always like someday. Just get online and register. Register today. I mean, if you took the time to watch this webinar today, you must be curious of this and wondering what you can do to start kind of amping up your life. I mean, we're getting into spring. It's 2020. It's the mark of a whole new decade. Let's do something fun. Let's do something fresh and change it up. And then finally, on this note, we have personal style. Okay, so personal style is really big to me because a lot of people go, boy, I saw, oh, this person had on this coat, I loved it. Or I really would love to wear those red, you know, shoes, but I don't have the guts to it. Do something different. If you have basic, boring eyewear, go to Warby Parker, get something fun and new. Get some cool Clark Kent glasses, get some cat eyes. If you always wanted to wear like a bold, unique purse, go buy it, go wear it. Don't leave it in your closet. Do something a little bit more bold and a little bit more fun. This is something that has nothing to do with travel or this or logistics. It's just something simple you can do to give yourself a fresh look, a fresh feel. Did you always want to go get that jet black, you know, cool Dita Von Teese haircut? Go for it. What are you waiting for? Go get your highlights. Do something fun and fresh and new. People feel really alive when they do that. It kind of reminds me, I love dogs and I have a dog. And it's kind of a funny correlation, but whenever I take her to the groomer, it's like a whole new dog. I mean, it's like 4 years have come off her life. She's jumping around. She looks fresh. She looks fun. I think humans are like that too. We all need fresh things now and then that kind of inspire and motivate us. All right. Now we're going to hop into the 1 year epic goals. So these were, you guys saw some of mine from my dream list. And these are, as I said, these are a wow factor goal. This is something, and again, this is on a spectrum, as Marissa and I said. My wow factor goal last year was I learned how to scuba dive. And, you know, some people who live in coastal cities or are familiar with might be like, wah, wah, scuba diving. You know, I've done it my whole life. But that was super epic for me, especially being in like a landlocked place like we are. You know, we're not scuba diving here. And my friend was like, let's scuba dive, let's do it. I got certified in Bahamas. It was pretty intense too, because on the final day of my certification, it was an 80-foot shark dive, which I did not want to do. And I had no choice. It was like, I was the only newbie rookie getting certified and everyone wanted a shark dive. So anyway, mindset shift, as I said, I absolutely am kind of scared of the water. I'm totally scared of sharks. And I was freaked out about scuba diving, and there I went like down, 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 and it was a big deal for me. So these are things I want you to do. 1 year epic goals, where today you can start it. You're like, you know what? By March 3rd, 2021, I will have A, B, C, whatever your epic goal is. Start thinking about it today. Go get inspired from jetsetter.com, or maybe it's something local. Maybe it's like, hey, I want to know how to tango. And by next year, I want to be able to go to any tango club or salsa club, and I want to be able to bring it. All right, start your classes. Find a class in your local community, or I wanted to play the piano, or I wanted to learn to paint. Like, these are things where you can reflect on 1 year and give yourself a big pat on the back and be like, hey, I didn't just waste a year doing my same old thing. I did something pretty cool. And then again, I have on here dramatic lifestyle changes. So this isn't going to be for everyone, but some people are really stuck. They got into a job. It's a means to make money and live their life, but they're totally unhappy. They don't know where it's going to go or what they're going to do. You know, it's not for everyone, but if you do need to go ahead and take like a way later in life gap year and go work for or volunteer for Habitat for Humanity or do something philanthropic like that, and you don't have really a strings attached lifestyle, do it. Why not? One life to live. Get rid of your apartment lease, do something unique and bold. US will be waiting for you. Everyone will be waiting for you. It's 1 year of time. We have a 1 year of time go by all the time, and we can't reflect what happened. So why not have 1 year of time go by and be like, wow, I did something pretty epic. And also finally, finding your passion hobby. So example of this would be, maybe you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. That's fine. What about doing something really cool and crafty, like some DIY work, saying, hey, I always wanted to redecorate my home, and I'm going to start working on fun DIY ideas. I'm going to start YouTubing cool things I can do. I have a friend of mine who always wanted to refurbish old cars. He finally said, I'm going to do it. He bought this cool classic junker. It was like a pretty cheap buy, and it was literally like almost a shell of a car. He spent a year and a half, completely got this thing mint condition. It's beautiful. He's really proud of it. And that really gave him something fun and inspirational to do with his time. And that was what I would consider a year epic goal in there. One quick question here. Do you have a reading list, book list you recommend along these themes of goal setting? Oh gosh, I have a great list that my Nana gave me. It's called 1,000 things to do before you die, or 1,000 places to visit before you die. Sorry guys, because I don't have it in front of me, but it is really, really quite cool. And you know what? If you guys are curious, I have so many books and I can't think of them now, but go ahead and email me on my website. Ask me for a list or anything you want in that topic and genre, and I'll definitely send you what I've got, because I have a big bunch of stuff at home that I definitely can share with you guys. Okay. All right, now, again, just closing with that, finding your passion hobby. Like I said, I might be a big travel enthusiast, but that's not for everyone. It's not within the realm for everyone. So local things are also really important and really cool that you can do. And, you know, do yourself a favor, take action. Don't talk about it, all right? Don't dream. The dream list is a great title, but it also needs to have actions following it. So I want you guys to take action, dream, create your list, but then start saying, what am I gonna do that's on the small list and the large list, and just start rolling with this. And feel free and shoot me an email. Let me know what you do. I'm always inspired by people. I love to hear what kind of gets people ticking, and maybe you'll inspire me for some cool activity too. That's the human condition, right? We need to keep each other motivated and going. So anyways, if there's any other questions, what are some goals you've coaching on recently? What are some goals?
I'm wondering if the question is around what are some themes about your clients' goals? Are you seeing any trends?
So generally, okay, my clients I kind of have 3 genres that are definitely the main themes. One are people who are really, really busy and they feel like they have no time in their day and they can't enjoy their lives. And I'm helping them kind of get their lives more structured to implement joy and fun and excitement. Another one is people who are stuck and they're like, I'm really absolutely unmotivated, uninspired, and I just feel like, what's my next step? And another one is people who are going through like a major life transformation and transition. And those are kind of the 3 topics, because I think those are really prevalent topics for people, right? Going through these major things. So in that regard, those would be kind of the top tier things. People are usually interested in having more adventure and excitement when they do have a little bit more structure in place. When I'm working with someone who's super frazzled and they don't even have enough time in the day to, do their laundry now and then, we're going baby steps with them. I hope I answered that. Sorry, that was a little tricky there. So, okay, I'm in my 50s. I've been interviewing for jobs forever. No offer. How can I live my life while trying to get a new job? Yep, that's some real stuff right there. Okay. If I was working with you, one thing I'd want to find out right away is, what are the jobs that you are interviewing for? Are these jobs that you are qualified for? I'm guessing yes. But then I also want to know why are you not, what's not clicking here at these interviews? Because if you've been interviewing forever, I'd be like, hey, let's look at your resume, your cover letter. How are you interviewing, and like find out what's going on with your soft skills, because that could always be a thing. But in the meanwhile, while you're kind of going at that, I would advise working with a career counselor or career coach who really specializes in that. And then on that note, advertising age, maybe tech skills. That's legit. Yeah, and I think it's really one thing, by the way, congrats to you for pointing out that it could be your tech skills. So on that note, there's a great course site called Udemy, U-D-E-M-Y. Okay, it's an app or it's a website. They have fantastic courses for literally anything you could ever want, from tech skills to languages to seriously everything under the sun. They're incredibly affordable. I'm talking like anywhere from $10 to $50, and you can start educating yourself. So I really recommend that for anyone who's looking to expand their horizons with anything that's either work related or even just entertainment related. So maybe check that out. And then on that note, while you're hunting for jobs, instead of just kind of being in the doldrums thinking, I don't have a job and this really is a bummer, do what I mentioned. Go ahead and get on Eventbrite, do some fun things, get out in your local community, because you might network and meet someone who can help you open a door. You might get inspired by some people and think, hey, yeah, I'm trying to get this job in this particular industry, but maybe I don't want to. Maybe it's time for me to switch my industries. Maybe it's time for me to kind of change the trajectory of my life. I've been doing this X amount of years or decades, time for something new. And I do believe that getting out there with people, Marissa, I know you know about this, like networking is everything. And that's really how you do open doors. So hopefully that gave you a little food for that.
Well, I can give a plug for one way that the Alumni Association helps this community network. We have something called the Maroon and Gold Network, which is a free online platform for career advice and networking. And you can think of it as LinkedIn on steroids.
That's awesome.
Just for the University of Minnesota community.
And U of M, I mean, we want to, everyone here wants to see everyone succeed.
Exactly.
So you know that you're going to be in good hands.
I'll include the link to that in our follow-up email.
Yeah. And one more thing too, to the lady who I was just kind of responding to there. Seriously, I don't want to pound it in too much, but really check out this Udemy site, U-D-E-M-Y. It's pretty cool. Oh, here, someone was just asking that website discussing job. Oh, that was yours. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. What are ways people can focus on their goals and not get distracted? Sometimes what I notice is that people want to do everything. So they become distracted and scattered. Yes. You nailed it. Okay. So it's kind of like when you go to a buffet at a restaurant, okay? And you're like, I want it all. I want everything on my plate right now. But we can't have everything right now, right? We have to be realistic with the time we have and kind of what we can do within the realities of our life and our lifestyle. So I think we need to prioritize, okay? So what are the things that you really, really want? Are you really yearning for connection with someone? Are you really yearning for a new activity? Are you really yearning for a new job? What is your list of priorities? You have to make your kind of hierarchy and do your like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and focus on your tier 1. But then always, I like to keep other things going too. Like it's kind of like always keeping an iron in the fire. Don't just neglect the additional things, but just pace it out a little bit. You don't have to do everything in a day. We've got plenty of time. There is no rush, and you want to do things right. You don't want to do things rushed. So sorry for the kind of general answer on that, but I'm just kind of going through these questions here. That's the kind of a snippet I can give you for now. Okay. How do you organize your goals to promote accountability and follow through? So one thing that I love to do is just like a quick thought for you without getting too granular. I'm a big junkie on just simply the notes on my phone. I know there's so many bells and whistles and cool things that you can download software, and the red means this and orange means that and green means that. You know, and I get it, if you're in an office, that's great. But if it's just you doing you, like, I don't even know where my phone, I'll show you guys. Actually, I'll just let you voyeur into my world for a minute. So I have my daily notes, and okay, so example would be like, well, I won't get too in there, but I just I basically have like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I write it out. It's not even in a Google Calendar or anything, because that can get kind of crazy. And I'm just like, hey, every single day I write what I'm doing in the morning, what are my errands if I have to, what is my nightly goals, something fun I'm doing. And I kind of get a rush from deleting them when they're gone. I'm like, oh, got that, gone, deleted, next. And when you have that step-by-step system where you know, tonight, no matter what, I'm getting this done and that done, and you can erase it from your list, it gives you a personal accountability. And it's, like I said, it's kind of fulfilling to like erase these things off there. So that's just a simple, basic way you can get things going. But really, truly, notes in your phone, bust it open, boom, 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 get it in. It's so easy. And every night before bed, I set up my next day's stuff and what's going. And then Sundays, I set up my full week ahead, and I just kind of tweak and tailor it every day. I hope that helped. All right, anything else there? We good?
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, Ivy, so much for motivating us and for sharing all of your tips and tricks. I'm definitely reflecting on my mindset and my dream list and my excuses. And
we all got them. Yeah, we're moving.
A couple people asked about being able to see the presentation again, or whether the slides will be shared. So we will share out the recording link and the slides with everybody that registered for this webinar afterwards, so you can watch it again or share it with friends or family that you think might benefit from hearing this content as well. But again, thank you to Ivy for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
To everybody who tuned in, and have a great afternoon.